Hi, this is Bob, and been working on the Heathkit tunnel dipper here, doing a repair job and restoration of the HM-10A tunnel dipper. And I've got it all apart now. Here's the variable capacitor unit, which is in good condition and ready to go back in, and the dial unit. So what I've got here today, first of all, I had removed all of these resistors that are down here. There's 7 of them, and you can see here that the values of those 7, several of them are quite a ways off on value. So I just took them all out and replaced them. Now what I'm doing right now, so having done that, is I'm working on the circuit board right there. I've got it laying on its side, and this is a folded up paper towel here. And before I started with that, I took this little pocket screwdriver and I scraped around, and I took the big chunks of solder flux. There was some big chunks in there. I took all those off already. And then what I do now, in this little condiment container, I have some 90% alcohol. You can buy 90% alcohol at most of your big department stores, in the pharmacy department, or as they say in England, the chemist department. Anyhow, just take a toothbrush and wipe it on the circuit board, and it will take that flux right off. You can use 70% alcohol as well, but you will find that 70% alcohol leaves a white deposit. Use the 90% alcohol and it does not, and it doesn't take long. Boy, you can clean that stuff off really quick, especially since I went through and cleaned off some already with a little screwdriver. I just scraped it off. I've got it positioned like this. I don't want to get any alcohol in the switch, because it can dissolve any flux around that switch and get it into the switch contacts, and the flux can mess up the switch. So I didn't clean around the switch. I just started below it here and cleaned that. So this is ready to go back in there. And one thing that I do with these, when I get done cleaning them like that, I have this little air blower here. It's a Coleman quick pump, it says Coleman quick pump, and it makes a really nice blower for cleaning off, blowing off things, and in this case just drying off the alcohol. Anyways, this thing blows like the dickens, so I like it for this job. And it's small, and I got it at a garage sale, I think, for like $2. So keep your eyes open for one of those. They're really handy on the workbench. And talking about cleaning these circuit boards, when I worked at Heathkit in the service department, we used lacquer thinner to clean these circuit boards. And lacquer thinner, it does a little bit better job, but you really have to be careful with lacquer thinner because it will dissolve plastics. So the alcohol, 90% alcohol, it might take a little bit more work, not a whole lot more work, but anyways, it does a better job, I think, without dissolving any plastic parts, like the plastic parts in that switch. Anyhow, one day I was working at Heath Company, brings back a memory, working at a Heathkit company, and one of the guys was working on a piece of equipment, and he got ready to clean the circuit board, and he went over, and we had a container of lacquer thinner there, and the usual procedure was to take your piece of equipment over to the bench where the lacquer thinner was, and we had a little container of lacquer thinner there, and you could clean it right there. Well, this was a bigger, heavier piece of equipment, and he didn't want to do that. So he thought he would just take a styrofoam cup and pour a little lacquer thinner into it. Well, he did. He poured some lacquer thinner in that styrofoam cup, and he made it about 10 feet back to his bench before the lacquer thinner hit the bottom of the cup out, and he had lacquer thinner all over his pants and all over the floor, because lacquer thinner, of course, dissolves plastic, and it went right through that styrofoam cup. Another guy was working on a piece of equipment there, and he had cleaned a circuit board with lacquer thinner and a piece of equipment that he was working on, and he took it over to his bench and plugged it right in. It had only been a matter of seconds since he had finished cleaning that circuit board. Well, what happened was that the thing immediately caught on fire, because lacquer thinner is very, very flammable. And when he plugged in that piece of equipment and hit the switch, it went poof, and flames shot out of it. And I think Heath Company bought the guy a new piece of equipment, whatever it was that he was working on. I'm not sure what it was that he was working on that day. So anyway, so it sure was a neat place to work. Heath Company was the best place I ever worked. The people were the nicest ever, and really enjoyed my time there. What else? I guess that's it, guys. So this is segment number 3, or part number 3 of working on the HM-10A tunnel dipper, and this has been much more of an involved and much more time-consuming project than I thought it would be. It's such a little thing, and I thought it would be just a little quickie, and I'll just make one video. It isn't the way it worked out. It's taken a lot more time. It's a difficult piece to take apart, and it's going to be a difficult piece to get back together too. So I just thought I'd mention that. It's funny sometimes how these little things that you think are going to be so quick wind up taking so much time. So with that, we'll say 73s and good DX.